turn. There we go. Welcome back, everyone, to Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium at Lynn Cottrell Park on a cloudy Saturday afternoon. We've got an action-packed game day in the Gold City this afternoon as we get set for Game 3 of the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. It's the top-ranked North Georgia Nighthawks taking on the Storm from Lake Erie College. We are so glad to have you all with us today alongside the Nighthawk Sports Network team, Robert D. Clementi, on hand this afternoon. This is Game 2 of the day for North Georgia. They are coming off an emotional 1-2 loss against Lenoir-Rhyne just about 30 minutes ago in a game that went into 10 innings, and neither team was able to score until the 10th. North Georgia took the lead in the top of the 10th after an RBI from Tegan Laval. She hit one to right field, giving North Georgia the 1-0 lead, but then Lenoir-Rhyne was able to bounce back and take a 2-1 lead, ultimately sealing the victory in the bottom of the 10th to send North Georgia to 8-2 on the season. And meanwhile, we are already underway here in this matchup between North Georgia and Lake Erie. And the Storm come to Dahlonega facing off against the top-ranked team in the nation to open their season. Lake Erie finished last year 10-30. This is their first regular season game since April 29th of 2023. So the Nighthawks are looking to pick up their first win this afternoon, trying to secure their 9th of the season. And the Storm are looking to start their 2024 season off with a bang, trying to dethrone the number 1 ranked team in Division II softball. So it's North Georgia versus Lake Erie, ready for battle on the Nighthawk Sports Network. With tomorrow up to bat first for Lake Erie. Ariana Tomorrow last season posted a 193 batting average. She had 23 hits for the Storm, 7 RBIs, and she hits one right to Sophie Mooney at first for out number 1 here in this game. Here comes Maddie Pollock up to bat for Lake Erie. Let's take a look at the rest of the batting order for the Storm. Following Pollock, it's going to be Gonzalez, Scott, Garcia, Rowland, Spar, Sluga is going to round out the batting order for the Storm this afternoon. It's actually going to be Gillen rounding out the batting order this afternoon for Lake Erie. And Maddie Pollock last season posted a 200 ERA in her 25 at-bats, had 5 hits with 1 RBI last season. And this is a big game for both squads as the Nighthawks are looking to get back into the win column after falling to Lenoir-Rhyne in a very, very, very close game, emotional game for North Georgia. Could have gone either way, but saw Lenoir-Rhyne eventually come away with a victory in the bottom of the 10th. And to start this game out for Lake Erie, they're going to have to go up against Aniston Wright, who is in the circle for North Georgia to start this game. Aniston Wright this season has posted a 3.32 ERA. She's pitched just over 6 innings for the Nighthawks, and she's allowed 8 hits, 3 runs, all 3 of those runs earned. She's still looking for that first strikeout of the season. But she's having to follow up a career day from Tybee Denton in the circle for North Georgia in their game against Lenoir-Rhyne. This one's going to be popped up behind the plate, and Sadie Johnson is unable to corral that one in. So it's going to be a 1-2 count for Pollock. And on the field for North Georgia, from first to third base, it's going to be Sophie Mooney at first, Katie Ward at second, Gracie Mixon at third. At the shortstop, it's Hannah Chisholm. As Aniston Wright gets her first strikeout of the 2024 season coming against Pollock here in Game 3 of the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. From left to right field, it's Jolie Lester, Sydney Blair, and Mariah Wicker over there in right. And then behind the plate, as we mentioned earlier, is going to be Sadie Johnson for North Georgia. And it's now a 1-0 count for Jasmine Gonzalez. Gonzalez last season was second on the team in batting average, posting a .241. She had 20 hits in her 83 at-bats. And she also led the team in RBIs with 13 last season. Had a home run as well. And the 2-0 pitch. This one's going to get right to Mooney for out number 3 here in this game between North Georgia and Lake Erie, taking us to the bottom of the first, where Jolie Lesser is going to lead things off here for North Georgia. When we come back, you're watching North Georgia Softball on the Nighthawk Sports Network. It's a chilly Saturday afternoon up here in the Gold City of Dahlonega as we head to the bottom of the first inning in this matchup between North Georgia and Lake Erie. Nighthawks taking on the Storm here in Game 3 of the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. Again, the Nighthawks coming off a 2-1 loss against Lenore Rhine about 45 minutes ago. So North Georgia is looking to avoid dropping back-to-back games for the first time since April of last year when they lost to Columbus State in back-to-back games right here at home at Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium. Jolie Lesser is going to lead things off here for North Georgia in the bottom of the first. And North Georgia last season would eventually avenge those 2 losses to Columbus State, taking them down in the Peach Belt Conference Championship. But getting 2 straight losses for North Georgia is something that you do not see very often. So it's an 0-2 count for Jolie Lester. She had a hit in her last time out against Lenore Rhine. And the 0-2 pitch outside for ball 1. And getting the start in the circle this afternoon for Lake Erie is Carly Rowland. Rowland last season posted a 4.95 ERA. She pitched 96 innings as this one's going to be hit well into left and caught for out number 1 in the bottom of the first, bringing Sydney Blair back up to bat. Back up to bat today, I should say. This is her first appearance in today's game. And Rowland last season, she allowed 105 hits, 67 runs, 53 of those runs earned, and she struck out 67 batters while walking 45, holding opponents to a .266 batting average. Rowland, a veteran on this Lake Erie squad, a graduate student out of Smithville, Ohio. 1-0 pitch to Blair. It's going to be outside for ball 2. North Georgia couldn't get anything going early in their game against Lenore-Rhine. Neither could the Bears. And it took 10 innings for us to see the first points go up on the board for either one of these teams. So we'll see if the Nighthawks can flip the script here and try to take an early lead over the Storm here in Game 3, as this one's going to be grounded to first, and Blair is going to be out as Garcia makes the play, giving us 2 outs in the bottom of the first, and Sophie Mooney is back up to bat for North Georgia today. Mooney's still looking for her first hit here in the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. Mooney won the MVP of the College World Series after North Georgia won the NCAA Division II National Championship in 2023 against Grand Valley State. Again, she's one of those utility players for the Nighthawks, whether she's up to bat or she's over at first or she's pitching in the circle. She can do it all. So it's a 1-1 count for Mooney. And the 1-1 pitch. Outside for a ball. Coming into today, Mooney has posted a .520 batting average with 13 hits and 7 RBIs so far on the season. This one's going to be down the middle for a strike. Mooney may have gotten a piece of it, but it still was going to be fouled. So it's a 2-2 count. Deuces running wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs with 2-0 up to bat. And the 2-2 pitch. Swinging a high fly ball going into right. That's going to be caught for out number 3 over there in right field by Gillen. So a scoreless first inning takes us to the second. We'll see if the Storm can get on the board first. When we come back, you're watching North Georgia Softball on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
Northeast Georgia Health System is a proud supporter of North Georgia Nighthawk Athletics.
Back with you here on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Glad to have you all with us today for this matchup between North Georgia and Lake Erie in Game 3 of the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. Now with Ava Scott up to bat for Lake Erie. Ava Scott last season posted a 1.79 ERA, 15 hits in her 84 at-bats. She had 8 RBIs as well as she hits this one into right, and this one's unable to be corralled in by Blair. That one kind of dropped between Mariah Wicker and Sydney Blair, and you can see Mariah going up to Sydney Blair and giving her a high five, telling her to keep her head up after that play. And so the first hit of the season for Lake Erie belongs to Scott. Here's CJ Garcia up to bat for Lake Erie. Garcia last season posted a 2.91 ERA. She had 23 hits in her 79 at-bats with 6 RBIs, and she led the team with 3 home runs last season, tied with Emma Spar for the most on the team. So Lake Erie's got a runner on first. Here comes the 0-1 pitch from right. This one's going to be grounded into right. And Mariah's unable to corral that one in. Throws to third. Nobody there. Runners on first and second for Lake Erie. And so the Storm are off to a solid start here in the top of the second. And that's going to bring up Carly Rowland, who is also the pitcher, starting pitcher in today's game for the Storm. So we got a pitcher-on-pitcher matchup between Aniston Wright and Rowland. Last season, Rowland posted a 3.46 ERA, which led this team last season. She had 9 hits in her 26 at-bats, with 2 RBIs as well. This one's going to be fouled. Home plate ump calls a dead ball, so it's going to be an 0-2 count for Rowland. And we saw in North Georgia's game against Lenore-Rhine, they were putting up their starting pitcher up to bat as well. 0-2 pitch. This one's outside for a ball. As we mentioned earlier, Aniston Wright's having to follow up a phenomenal showing from Tybee Denton. She posted 15 strikeouts in North Georgia's loss to Lenore-Rhine, a new career high for her in a game. She came into that matchup against Lenore-Rhine with 19 strikeouts on the season, almost matched that in a single game alone. So Aniston Wright has to follow up that performance from the senior Tybee Denton. This one's going to be grounded to Chisholm, and the flip to second gets there on time as Ward was able to get a foot on base. So that gives us our first out in the top of the second, with Emma Spar up to bat. Emma Spar last season posted a 2.50 ERA. She had 13 hits in her 52 at-bats with 8 RBIs. And as we mentioned, she's tied for the most home runs on this team last season with 3. But it looks like Lake Erie is going to have a pinch runner over there on first. And that's going to be number 22, Jordan Hawkins. Now on first base for the Storm. Hawkins, a senior out of Castalia, Ohio. Graduated from Perkins High School. So here's Emma Spar up to bat with 1 out in the top of the first. Runners on the corners for Lake Erie. As Spar takes one upstairs for a ball. It's a 1-0 count. As we mentioned in the pregame, this is the first game of the 2024 campaign for Lake Erie. That's another ball upstairs by Aniston Wright. They have not played in a regular season game since April 29th of 2023. And the 2-0 pitch to Spar. This one's going to be popped up into right. Wicker is there, makes the grab, throws to home plate, but she's going to keep the runner over there on third and Scott. So nice job there by Mariah Wicker, not only getting the out, but preventing Lake Erie from putting a run up on the board. Now Adriana Sluga up to bat for Lake Erie. Adriana last season posted a 1.56 ERA. 7 hits in her 45 at-bats. She had 7 runs when she was on base as well. Had 2 RBIs as well last season. Takes ball 2 there from Aniston Wright. And Wright, I believe, is the only junior on this North Georgia bullpen. Every other pitcher in the bullpen for the Nighthawks is a senior, as Johnson tries to collect that one, as that one got behind, that pitch from Wright got behind her. That's going to advance runners to second and third for Lake Erie. And it's a 3-0 count for Sluga. As Wright gets the signal. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. That's going to cut it up top inside for strike 1. Nighthawks trying to leave runners stranded on second and third. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. This one's going to be grounded over the head of Wright. Throw to first. It's going to get there on time as Mooney makes the stretch. It's going to keep the Storm scoreless here in the second, taking us to the bottom of the second. We'll see if North Georgia can get on the board first when we come back. You're watching North Georgia softball on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby.
Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela burns it. An incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
I'm here.
You've got a lot of reasons to be here.
I'm here.
That's why we're here at Georgia Heart Institute, where advanced heart attack treatment protocols are saving more hearts than anywhere else in the state. That's why we're here.
I'm here.
So you'll always be there. The future of heart care, we're leading Georgia there. Georgia Heart Institute.
The road to national championships runs through NCAA.com. And whether you follow one college team or all of them, it's never been easier to get the content you want with NCAA.com, the home of college sports.
Back with you here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium as we head to the bottom of the second in this matchup between North Georgia and Lake Erie. Georgia Blair is going to get things going here for the Nighthawks. Georgia Blair serving as the Nighthawks' designated hitter here against the Storm. She was behind the plate last game for the Nighthawks against Lenore Ryan. Sadie Johnson gets the start behind the plate. In this matchup, 1-0 pitch to Blair. It's going to be down the middle for a strike. Got Mariah Wicker on deck for Georgia Blair. 1-1 pitch. Outside for ball 2. North Georgia looking to get to their 9th win of the season here against Lake Erie. Avoid losing back-to-back games at home, swinging a high fly ball deep into left, and you can kiss that ball goodbye. A Georgia Blair bomb to left field gets us going here in the bottom of the second, and North Georgia leads this one 1-0 early. And what a great rebound here for the Nighthawks after not scoring until the 10th inning earlier today against Lenore Ryan to get going early here with Georgia Blair sending one to the terrace to give the Nighthawks an early lead. Here comes Mariah Wicker up to bat. Mariah Wicker inserted into the batting order for North Georgia late in their game against Lenore Rhine. And she takes a strike down the middle from Rowland. Mariah came in to be a pinch runner in the game and then was eventually inserted into the batting order. 1-0 pitch. Wicker bunts here, keeps it in play. Throw to first, gets there. And Mariah was almost able to make it to first there on that bunt. It took kind of an awkward bounce, and Mariah had kind of a awkward start leaving home plate. So here comes Gracie Mixon up to bat. As we mentioned in North Georgia's game against Lenore Rhine, Gracie Mixon had a great game against UNC Pembroke yesterday, going 2 for 3 at the plate with 4 RBIs, ultimately ending the game in the 5th inning to give the Nighthawks an 8-0 lead and a run rule victory. One 1-0 pitch to Mixon. It's going to be outside for ball 2. Mixon has Katie Ward on deck. And the 2-0 pitch to Mixon cuts it inside for strike 1. Mixon the leader on this North Georgia squad in RBIs. 2-1 pitch to Mixon. This one's hit well into center field, but it's going to be caught for out number 2 as Tomorrow makes the play. That's going to bring up the sophomore Katie Ward up to bat for North Georgia. Ward leads the Nighthawks in batting average this season. Coming into today, batting .526 on the year, 10 hits and 7 RBIs for the sophomore. Rowland gets the signal, 1-0 pitch to Ward. Gets it inside for the strike. Got Sadie Johnson on deck for Ward. No runners on for North Georgia. That pitch is going to be outside of the zone from Rowland. Makes it a 2-1 count, 2 outs in the bottom of the second. And the 2-1 pitch to Ward upstairs for ball 3. North Georgia with the early 1-0 lead over Lake Erie as Ward sees strike 2 go past her. Count runs full. As Rowland gets her signal, here comes the payoff pitch. Swinging a high fly ball going into left. And the Nighthawks are rolling here in the bottom of the second as they get their second hit of the afternoon against Lake Erie. Let's see if Sadie Johnson can keep this inning alive for North Georgia. Johnson seeing her first action at the plate here for North Georgia this afternoon. Johnson still looking for her first hit of the 2024 campaign. This is her 8th appearance at the plate this season. And as we mentioned, she's serving as the Nighthawks catcher today against Lake Erie. As Rowland gets the signal, 1-1 pitch. It's going to make this a 2-1 count for Johnson. Got Hannah Chisholm on deck. This one's hit well into left, but fouled. So Johnson's going to get another crack at it here. Still got Katie Ward over there on first. Good, the double P signs from the home plate ump. 2-2 count for Johnson. And the 2-2 pitch. This one again is going to be fouled. So another opportunity coming up here for Johnson. Coach Davenport deciding to switch up the lineup here in North Georgia's second game of the day. In a game against Lenore Rhine that lasted almost 3 hours. 2-2 pitch to Johnson. Swings and misses there, which is going to retire the inning, taking us to the top of the third. But North Georgia takes an early 1-0 lead after a Blair bomb to left field. We'll see how Lake Erie responds when we come back. You're watching North Georgia Softball on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
Greatness. Greatness is defined as striving to succeed. It is giving everything you have to achieve your goals. It's not defined by the numbers of games you lose, the numbers of shots you miss, but it's the risk in failing that will define your greatness. You earn it by showing up early, by pushing yourself every day, by working harder than everyone else. And when you've reached that point of giving up, you don't. Most people are good, others are great. Find your greatness.
Back with you here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium as we head to the top of the third. North Georgia takes an early 1-0 lead over the Storm after Georgia Blair hit a solo shot to left field to give North Georgia the lead here. Bryn Gillen is going to lead things off here for Lake Erie in the top of the third. The 1-0 pitch from right, a swing and a miss from Gillen, makes it 1-1. Last season, Gillen posted a 1.72 ERA, had 5 hits in her 29 at-bats, with 1 RBI as well. Another swing and a miss there as Aniston Wright pushes this to a 1-2 count. And the 1-2 pitch, another swing and a miss as Aniston Wright has already picked up a couple strikeouts in this one, came into the game without one this season. She now has a few under her belt in this game, her second of the afternoon. And now Lake Erie returns to the top of their batting order with Tomorrow back up to bat. Tomorrow had a fly out last time she was up to bat. She pops this one up into foul territory, and Sophie Mooney tries to make a diving play on the ball out there. She's unable to corral that one in, but a great effort there by Mooney coming out from first. So it's a 1-1 count for Tomorrow. As Wright gets the signal, 1-1 pitch. This one's going to be grounded. Gets past Wright. Chisholm throws to first. Gets it to Mooney on time for out number 2. That's going to bring up Maddie Pollock back up to bat. who was struck out by Wright last time she was up to bat. Head coach for the Storm, Grace Jackson, is in her second year at the helm of Lake Erie's softball program. Coach Jackson came to Lake Erie after a successful playing and coaching career at the University of Northwestern Ohio. So it's an 0-1 count for Pollock after she just fouled that ball. Got 2 outs in the top of the third. A swing and a miss from Pollock makes it an 0-2 count. Nobody on base for Lake Erie. Gonzalez is on deck. And the 0-2 pitch. This one's going to be outside. High and right for ball 1. And the wind has started to calm down here at Lynn Cottrell Park. Don't see the flags out there in center field moving too much. But it is definitely a cooler afternoon than it was for yesterday's day 1 of the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. It's 45 degrees and cloudy outside right now. 1-2 pitch from Wright. This one's going to be tipped and fouled by Pollock. So she'll have another crack at it here. Count's going to stay at 1-2. As Wright gets her signal, here comes the 1-2 pitch. This one's going to get inside for strike 3 as Wright picks up strikeout number 3 on the afternoon, taking us to the bottom of the third. We'll see if North Georgia can extend that 1-0 lead when we come back. You're watching North Georgia softball on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Back with you here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium in a 1-0 game between North Georgia and Lake Erie. Nighthawks on top by a run after a solo home run from Georgia Blair in the bottom of the second. And Hannah Chisholm is going to lead things off here for the Nighthawks in the bottom of the third. Chisholm serving as North Georgia's shortstop. This afternoon sees a strike there from Rowland. And the 0-1 pitch. This one's going to be low for ball 1. Got a great crowd on hand this afternoon for day 2 of the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. Got the stands packed out here and some fans out there in the terrace over in left field. The terrace, a new addition to Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium. As Chisholm takes strike 2. Chisholm rounding out the batting order for North Georgia. She's got Jolie Lester, Nighthawks leadoff batter, on deck. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. This one's going to be popped up into foul territory, but caught for out number 1 by Scott. And so here comes Jolie Lester back up to bat for North Georgia. Jolie had a fly out last time she was up to bat. Coach Davenport and the Nighthawks looking to get their leadoff batter going here in this matchup against Lake Erie. As she sees a ball go past her there from Rowland. Makes it a 1-0 count. And the 1-0 pitch to Lester. She's going to pop this one into right, and that's going to be fair, but she's going to be out at first after that one went off of the glove of Garcia, I believe that was. And so a heads-up play there from the Storm to still get the out at first. That's going to bring Sydney Blair up to bat. Blair grounded out last time she was up to bat. She had 4 groundouts against Lenore Ryan earlier this afternoon. As we mentioned before, she was a key piece on this North Georgia squad last season en route to a 2023 national championship. She's just a sophomore this season, so she should have a great career ahead of her here at the University of North Georgia. Meanwhile, Rowland pitches one between the legs of Gonzalez. So we got 2 outs in the bottom of the third. Nobody on for North Georgia. Here comes the 1-1 pitch as Blair grounds this one to first. And an easy out there for Lake Erie. Is going to retire the inning and take us to the 4th. North Georgia still holds a 1-0 lead over Lake Erie. We'll see how the Storm respond once we return. You're watching North Georgia softball on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
Northeast Georgia Health System is a proud supporter of North Georgia Nighthawk Athletics.
Welcome back to the Hill, nestled up here in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains in Dahlonega, Georgia. We've got a matchup between North Georgia and Lake Erie on our hands. Nighthawks still with an early 1-0 lead as this one's going to be grounded and bobbled by Ward. So this may go down as an error for North Georgia as Ward was unable to corral that one in, which puts a runner on first for Lake Erie. That was Gonzalez who was able to get to first. And that's going to bring Ava Scott up to bat. And it looks like Lake Erie is going to have a pinch runner over there on first. As Gonzalez steps off. And it's going to be number 7, Haley Escuto over there on first base. Haley, a sophomore out of Lincoln Park, Michigan, serving as a pinch runner for Lake Erie. Meanwhile, up to bat is number 20, Ava Scott. She had a hit in her first plate appearance this afternoon. And she sees a ball there from Anderson Wright. So the count's 1-0 with 1 runner on for Lake Erie. The Storm finished last season at 10-30. As we mentioned, this is their first game of the 2024 campaign. Looking to start their season off on a bang, trying to take down the number 1 ranked team in the nation, North Georgia. And speaking of that number 1 ranking, we have a high fly ball into right. Mariah is there, makes the grab for out number 1. On Tuesday, the top 25 coaches poll updated their national rankings, and North Georgia remains at the top with a 7-2 record, receiving 16 first-place votes. Grand Valley State, the team that North Georgia defeated in the College World Series last year to bring home a national championship, comes in ranked number 2. They start their 2024 campaign today, taking on Ohio Dominican at the Lincoln Memorial Tournament. North Georgia actually 8-2, on the season. But we may see them drop a bit in the national rankings after losing their second game of the season. We'll have to wait until next Tuesday to find out where their standing is in the top 25. And one of the biggest jumps in the top 25 is Mississippi College, jumping up from 24th to 7th in the nation after starting the season 8-0. And West Alabama, after starting the season 8-2, has gone from being unranked, as the Nighthawks are unable to get the out over there at second. But West Alabama has gone from being unranked all the way up to number 13 in the nation. So we could see some shakeups here in the top 25 next week. We'll have to see how this game goes for North Georgia as well. And the 1-1 pitch from right. This one's going to be grounded into center field. Stays in the infield. Gets to Katie Ward, who keeps it in the infield, but she's unable to get it to first in time, which is going to put runners on the corners for Lake Erie with Rowland up to bat. And the Nighthawks are going to talk things over here in the circle with Addison Wright after Garcia was able to get to first. Just one out in the top of the 4th. Runners on first and third for the Storm. Storm looking to put up their first run of the 2024 season. Rowland in her first at-bat this afternoon, grounded out. As we mentioned, though, she's having to do it all for Lake Erie this afternoon, as Johnson may have taken a shot there. She takes off her helmet. Hopefully she's okay. Kind of joking with Rowland out there. It may look like she got clipped on the face mask. But no harm done there. So it's an 0-1 count. Here comes the pitch outside for a ball. So it's a 1-1 count for Rowland. Got Hawkins on deck for Lake Erie. And the 1-1 pitch from right. This one's going to be grounded into left but fouled. So the count's moving to 1-2. Got a busy day here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill for day 2 of the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. This is game 3 of the Leadoff Classic, the second game today. And following this game, it's going to be UNC Pembroke taking on Lenore Rhine in a matchup and a rematch from earlier this season that saw Lenore Rhine take down UNC Pembroke twice. And then to round out the afternoon, it's going to be UNC Pembroke taking on Lake Erie, with first pitch in that game set for 4 p.m. This one's hit up to Wicker throws to home plate, and there's a bit of a pickle here as Johnson's able to track her down, and the Nighthawks make the double play. 2 for the price of 1. Here, a great defensive showing there from North Georgia keeps the Storm off the board, which is going to take us to the bottom of the 4th. A phenomenal sequence there by North Georgia, and a great effort by Sadie Johnson to make the tag. So we will step aside for a short commercial break. You're watching North Georgia softball on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby.
Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela Burgess. An incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
I'm here.
You've got a lot of reasons to be here.
I'm here.
That's why we're here at Georgia Heart Institute, where advanced heart attack treatment protocols are saving more hearts than anywhere else in the state. That's why we're here.
I'm here.
So you'll always be there. The future of heart care, we're leading Georgia there. Georgia Heart Institute.
The road to national championships.
Welcome back to Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium on this cloudy Saturday afternoon up in Dahlonega. Sophie Mooney's going to lead things off here for North Georgia in the bottom of the 4th. Nighthawks made a great defensive play there before the commercial break to keep the Storm off the board. And Sophie Mooney hits this one well and high into center field, and it's going to be caught by the center fielder tomorrow. Mooney almost had enough underneath that one to get it over at the 220 mark out there in center field, but it's going to give us our first out here in the bottom of the 4th, bringing up Georgia Blair back up to bat, serving as the Nighthawks' designated hitter in this matchup with Lake Erie. Georgia Blair had that solo home run last time she was up to bat. Let's see if she can repeat that success here. Takes a strike from Rowland. Got Mariah Wicker on deck for North Georgia. Here comes the 0-1 pitch to Blair. It's going to be outside. Makes it a 1-1 count. So we got 1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Here comes the 1-1 pitch to Blair. That one's going to be well upstairs for ball 2. As we mentioned before the commercial break, too, this is a very busy day here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill in day 2 of the North Georgia Lead-Off Classic. And games 3 and 4 today may be delayed a bit because of North Georgia's game against Lenore Ryan going into 10 innings. Actually, the game that features UNC Pembroke taking on Lenore Ryan was supposed to have their first pitch a minute ago at 2 p.m. We're still in game 2 today with North Georgia taking on Lake Erie. That's going to be ball 4 here from Rowland, which puts Blair on first. That's going to bring up Mariah Wicker back up to bat for North Georgia. And Mariah grounded out last time she was up to bat. So she's looking for something different here. As we mentioned in the game North Georgia had against Lenore Ryan, Mariah Wicker got injured towards the end of that game against Catawba in the leadoff classic, as that's going to be caught by the short. or by the second baseman, excuse me. That was Pollock who made the grab. And so Wicker is going to be out, but Belair is down on the turf over at first, was holding her lower back after Lenore Ryan, or Lake Erie, excuse me, almost made the double play. She looks to be great. Back up on her feet, though. Great sight to see there. So she came off the base and had to make a quick maneuver to dive back on first. And so now we have 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th with Gracie Mixon up to bat for North Georgia. Mixon had a fly out last time she was up to bat, looking for something different here. And she takes strike 1 from Roland. Nighthawk scored in the bottom of the 2nd. Looking to replicate some of that here with Mixon. Mixon grounds this one to 3rd. Throw to 1st. Gets there on time for out number 3. And so that's going to take us to the top of the 5th. North Georgia with a 1-0 lead over Lake Erie. Still anybody's ball game here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill. We'll step aside for a short break. You're watching North Georgia softball on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
Greatness. Greatness is defined as striving to succeed. It is giving everything you have to achieve your goals. It's not defined by the numbers of games you lose, the numbers of shots you miss, but it's the risk in failing that will define your greatness. You earn it by showing up early, by pushing yourself every day, by working harder than everyone else. And when you've reached that point of giving up, you don't. Most people are good, others are great. Find your greatness.
Back with you here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium in this matchup between North Georgia and Lake Erie sees the Nighthawks take an early 1-0 lead. We've been scoreless in the past 2 innings. We'll see if that changes here in the top of the 5th with Emma Spar up to bat for Lake Erie. Spar had a fly out last time she was up to bat. She pops this one into center field, and this one gets past Katie Ward to Sydney Blair. And so Lake Erie puts another hit up on the board, this time coming from Spar. And here comes Adriana Sluga back up to bat. She grounded out last time she was at the plate, serving as Lake Erie's shortstop this afternoon. She takes ball 1 upstairs. This is North Georgia's final game of the day. Lake Erie's going to have to take on UNC Pembroke in the final game of day 2 of the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. And the 1-0 pitch from right. Outside for ball 2. And the Storm have their leadoff batter on deck with Tomorrow getting ready to step back into the batter's box for Lake Erie. And the 2-0 pitch to Sluga. She bunts here, and the throw to first gets there on time. Throw to second, not there on time. And so the sac bunt puts a runner on second for Lake Erie as Mooney came off of first, and Ward was able to recover to get the out. Here's Tomorrow, who had a fly out and a ground out in her 2 plate appearances this afternoon. This one's going to be outside from right. So the Storm have a runner on first, just one out in the top of the fifth. As Wright gets the signal, here comes the 1-0 pitch. This one's going to be grounded in the infield, flip to first. It's going to get there, or almost gets there on time. That was a 50-50 call there at first base, and it's going to put runners on the corners for Lake Erie. Still just one out in the top of the fifth with Pollock back up to bat. So Lake Erie threatening to score here against North Georgia in the top of the fifth. And this is actually tomorrow up to bat right now. That was previously Bryn Gillen, who was able to get on first on that last at-bat. And the 1-0 pitch to tomorrow fouls this one off the bat. It's going to move to a 1-1 count. And the Nighthawks moved to 8-2 on the season in a extremely competitive Peach Belt Conference for softball. As this one's hit well into center field. Blair is there, makes the grab. They're making a run home for it at home plate, and Lake Erie ties this one up at 1-1. After Spar crossed home plate. So we're all tied up here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium with 2 outs in the top of the fifth. And the first run of the season for Lake Erie belongs to Spar. So now Lake Erie has a runner on first, with Pollock back up to bat. So we've got a tied ball game here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill. This is actually Jordan Long up to bat for Lake Erie. She swings and misses on that one. Long, a senior out of Rancho Cucamonga, California. Swing and a miss makes it an 0-2 count. Nighthawks trying to get out of this inning as they attempt to retake the lead in the bottom of the fifth. And the 0-2 pitch from Wright. This one's going to be grounded to Ward as she makes the tag, giving us our third out, taking us to the bottom of the fifth. This one's all tied up at 1-1. We'll see if North Georgia can regain the lead when we return. You're watching North Georgia Softball on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Welcome back to Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium, where we've got a tied ball game between North Georgia and Lake Erie. Now in the bottom of the fifth, Katie Ward's going to lead things off here for North Georgia. Lake Erie was able to put a run up on the board in the top of the fifth after Spar crossed home plate. So after the Nighthawks took an early 1-0 lead in the bottom of the second, we are all squared up at 1-1 as Ward takes ball one to make it a 1-1 count. Sadie Johnson on deck for North Georgia. Here comes the 1-1 pitch to Ward. Outside for ball two. We've got a busy Saturday for UNG Athletics, as we mentioned earlier. Of course, North Georgia playing in a doubleheader today in day two of the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. North Georgia baseball is taking on the 13th ranked team in the nation, Quincy, in game two of their series after a walk-off win for the Nighthawks in a thrilling game one yesterday. And UNG men's and women's basketball are on the road taking on USC Beaufort up in Bluffton, South Carolina. And men's tennis is down in Rome, Georgia, taking on Shorter. And UNG Rifle is down in Statesboro for a top 25 ranked matchup with Georgia Southern. Meanwhile, Katie Ward's able to reach first on a walk, which is going to bring up Sadie Johnson up to bat. And Caroline Branch is going to be inserted over there on first base as a pinch runner for North Georgia. We saw Branch do some pinch running for North Georgia in extra innings against Lenore Ryan. So up comes Sadie Johnson, who made a terrific defensive play a couple innings ago to keep Lake Erie off the board for the time being. We'll see what she can do here up to bat. She was struck out by Rowland last time she was in this position. She bunts here, but it's going to be a foul ball, pushing it to an 0-1 count. So with no outs in the bottom of the fifth, Ward on first. And the 0-1 pitch, this one's hit well into center field, and it's going to be caught by Tomorrow, which is going to keep Ward on first, giving us our first out in the bottom of the fifth. And so now with Ward remaining on first, it's going to bring up number 27, Riley Moody, up to bat for North Georgia. Seeing her first action here in the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. Moody, a freshman from Douglasville, Georgia, graduated from Chapel Hill High School, previously at Wallace State. And this season, Moody has posted a .333 batting average. She has one hit in her 3 at-bats. This is her 4th plate appearance of the season. And that one hit was a double. As Moody sees a ball from Rowland. So again, Coach Davenport trying to switch things up here at the bottom of his batting order. The 1-0 pitch to Moody. Outside for ball two. Again, still one out. 2-0 pitch to Moody. She hits this one into foul territory in left field. So it's going to be a 2-1 count. We've had some great additions to Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium in the past couple of months. Over to the left of us, we have our 2023 NCAA National Championship banner up. This one's hit well into left field as Moody gets one down near the 210 marker. Coach Davenport's waving Branch home. And she's able to get there, and North Georgia regains the lead. 2-1 is your new score here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill. So Moody, who had a double for her only hit of the season up to this point, gets her second here as she's able to get to second. And the Nighthawks regain the lead here in the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. And Jolie Lester is going to step back into the batter's box for North Georgia. Would love to see Lester get something going here. She's 0 for 2 in this game. Had a ground out and a fly out in her 2 plate appearances, serving as North Georgia's leadoff batter. Pops this one up near first base, and it's going to be dropped in foul territory. And so Lester is going to make her way back to home plate. And so the Storm kind of lost track of that ball up there as that one was popped up into the clouds. So you mentioned a very cloudy day this afternoon in Dahlonega. A 1 pitch to Lester. Takes one outside for ball 1. So a 1-1 count for Jolie Lester. 1 out with Moody on second. This one's going to be fouled up the right field line, pushing this to a 1-2 count for Lester. Nighthawks have Sydney Blair on deck. And the 1-2 pitch, swinging a high fly ball into left field, and that's going to drop out there near the 210 marker. Here come the Hawks, putting another run up on the board as Moody crosses home plate, and Lester makes this a 3-1 ball game here at the Hill. Great to see Jolie Lester finally get something going here in the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. And Lake Erie is going to talk things over here in the circle as Tegan Laval Massonet makes her way into the batter's box for North Georgia, taking the place of Sydney Blair here in the batting order this go around. And we saw Tegan in North Georgia's game against Lenore Ryan give the Nighthawks the lead in the top of the 10th, and she was able to get something down in right field. But then, of course, Lenore Ryan was able to tie it back up and then eventually take the lead, giving them the win in the bottom of the 10th. So we'll see what the redshirt freshman can do here for North Georgia with 1 out in the bottom of the 5th with Lester on second. As she sees a strike right down the middle from Rowland. Now the Nighthawks have Sophie Mooney on deck. And the 0-1 pitch upstairs, making it a 1-1 count. And the 1-1 pitch, again upstairs, making it a 2-1 count for Tegan. North Georgia putting together their best inning of the afternoon here in the bottom of the 5th. As that one cuts it close for ball 3. And the 3-1 pitch outside for ball 4. And that's going to put runners on first and second with Sophie Mooney back up to bat for North Georgia. Mooney also looking for her first hit this afternoon in her 2 plate appearances in this game against Lake Erie. She's 0 for 2. Had 2 flyouts. This one's going to be popped up into foul territory in right. Nighthawks still got some wiggle room here, though, with 2 runners on, just 1 out in the bottom of the 5th, with their do-it-all player up to bat. And she sees a strike there, making this an 0-2 count. Nighthawks have Georgia Blair on deck. And the 0-2 pitch to Mooney outside for ball 1. Still got Jolie Lester over there on second. And the 1-2 pitch to Mooney. This one's going to be in the dirt for ball 2. Runners will stay put on first and second for North Georgia. As Roland gets the signal, 2-2 pitch. This one's hit well into right field. And here come the Hawks as Coach Davenport's waving home Lester. She'll slide into home plate. And Mooney makes her way to second. And Tegan makes her way to home plate. And she's going to be out as she collided with Gonzalez. And Coach Davenport's trying to make a case here for Tegan at home plate. But the Nighthawks take a 4-1 lead after Lester was able to get home. And that's going to take us to 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th after Mooney was able to get to second, picking up her 11th stolen base of the season. Nighthawks are rolling here in the bottom of the 5th, a 3-run inning for North Georgia. And they're going to say that Tegan was out at home plate. Coach Davenport was trying to make the argument that Gonzalez may have gotten in the way there of Tegan. He's still going to try to argue his case here, but it doesn't look like he's going to win this argument. So now we have 2 outs. North Georgia with a 4-1 lead. Georgia Blair up to bat. And Georgia Blair was walked on her last plate appearance. Of course, had that home run in the bottom of the 2nd. Sees a ball there from Roland. Roland so far in this game has allowed 4 hits and 4 runs for North Georgia. All 4 of those runs earned. She's got 1 strikeout as well. With that strikeout coming against Sadie Johnson. Here comes the 1-1 pitch to Blair upstairs for ball 2. Two-one pitch to Blair. Outside for ball 3. And another one of those is going to put runners on first and second for North Georgia with Mariah Wicker on deck. And the 3-1 pitch outside for ball number 4. So just like that, runners on first and second with Mariah stepping back into the batter's box for North Georgia. Mariah's looking to get something going here. She's 0 for 2 in this one. Grounded out and had a fly out in her 2 plate appearances. As Mariah grounds this one into right, and they're waving home Mooney. Mooney's able to get home And Mariah now in a jam between first and second as Blair is able to get home. But Wicker is going to be tagged out. And North Georgia takes a 5-1 lead after that RBI from Mariah Wicker. Was almost able to get away there from the Storm. But the Nighthawks take a commanding 4-run lead heading into the 6th. We'll step aside for a short commercial break. You're watching North Georgia Softball on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
Northeast Georgia Health System is a proud supporter of North Georgia Nighthawk Athletics.
Back with you here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium. And North Georgia takes a commanding 6-1 lead over the Storm here in the top of the 6th. Let's see how Lake Erie responds here after that big inning from North Georgia. Speaking of North Georgia, they have a new pitcher in the circle. It's number 20, Sophie Mooney, who we just saw cross home plate to score a run for the Nighthawks just before that commercial break. So she's coming in for relief of Aniston Wright, trying to finish out this game for North Georgia. And Sophie Mooney, so far this season, has posted a 4.50 ERA. And she's pitched a little over 4 innings for North Georgia, allowing 3 hits, 3 runs. All 3 of those runs have been earned. And she's walked 4 batters, struck out 5 of them, and held opponents to a 167 batting average. We saw Mooney do some pitching in the 2023 NCAA Division II Softball National Championship against Grand Valley State. And her first matchup of the day is going to be against Gonzalez, who gets this one down in center field. And so Gonzalez picks up her first hit of the afternoon, coming off the first pitch of the afternoon from Sophie Mooney. And so that's going to bring up Ava Scott back up to bat. Scott's 1 for 2 this afternoon. And she takes one right down the middle from Sophie Mooney to make it an 0-1 count. And the 0-1 pitch. A swing and a miss from Scott makes it a quick 0-2 count. And these two teams have only faced off against each other twice before, as Mooney gets her first strikeout of the afternoon. Those two matchups both came last season in a doubleheader. North Georgia took both matchups almost a year ago to the day on February 19th, 2023, here at the Hill. The Nighthawks won Game 1 comfortably 6-0, but Game 2 was a different story. The Storm took the Nighthawks to extra innings for the first time in the 2023 season. North Georgia got out to a 2-0 lead in the 5th before Lake Erie tied it up in the 7th. And in the bottom of the 9th, it was Katie Ward that was the hero for the Nighthawks, hitting a sac fly to send Hannah Forehand home for the walk-off win. And I'm sure North Georgia's not looking to get into another 9-inning game with Lake Erie, especially after their 10-inning game against Lenore-Ryan earlier today. This one's hit well into left, and it hits the wall as Lester throws to third. And that's going to put runners on second and third for Lake Erie. As Scott's bat continues to stay hot here, now 2 for 3 on the day. Which is going to bring up Rowland back up to bat. So we got a utility player on utility player matchup now with Sophie Mooney going up against Rowland. She sees a strike there. As we mentioned earlier, these two players kind of do it all for their squads, whether it's pitching or it's hitting. These two players, some of the leaders on their team in batting average. Got a swing and a miss from Rowland. Makes it an 0-2 count. As Mooney gets her single from Johnson. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. It's going to be upstairs for a ball. Emma Spar is on deck. Just one out in the top of the 6th. Runners on second and third base. And the 1-2 pitch from Mooney. This one's going to be fouled off the feet of Rowland. Count's going to stay at 1-2. As Mooney gets her signal. 1-2 pitch. This one's right down the middle for strike 3. As Mooney picks up back-to-back strikeouts here in this 6th inning. She gets her second of the inning with Emma Spar up to bat. So that pitch is going to be low from Mooney to make it a 1-0 count. Runners are going to stay on second and third. And the 1-0 pitch from Mooney. This one's going to be grounded to Ward. The throw to first is not going to get there on time, and Lake Erie puts a run up on the board here to make this a 2-6 ball game. A little bit more manageable here for the Storm. Putting runners on the corners. Now with Sluga back up to bat. And now with Sophie Mooney in the circle for North Georgia. Mary Sil Brumby has been inserted over there at first base for the Nighthawks. So we have a swing and a miss from Sluga. And the 0-1 pitch from Mooney. This one's going to be grounded to Tegan, who flips to second. And the Nighthawks get out number 3, but the Storm put a run up on the board to make this a 6-2 ball game. North Georgia up by 4 runs. We will step aside for a short commercial break. You're watching North Georgia Softball on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby.
Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela Burgess. An incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
I'm here.
Mom!
You've got a lot of reasons to be here.
I'm here.
That's why we're here at Georgia Heart Institute, where advanced heart attack treatment protocols are saving more hearts than anywhere else in the state. That's why we're here.
I'm here.
So you'll always be there. The future of heart care, we're leading Georgia there. Georgia Heart Institute.
The road to national championships runs through NCAA.com. And whether you follow one college team or all of them, it's never been easier to get the content you want with NCAA.com, the home of college sports.
Welcome back to Dahlonega, Georgia, live from Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium, where it's a 6-2 ball game. North Georgia leading Lake Erie by 4. The Storm were able to put a run up on the board in the top of the 6th. We'll see how the Nighthawks respond here in the bottom of the 6th, with Caitlin Johnson up to bat here for North Georgia. Going to lead things off here for the Nighthawks in the bottom of the 6th. Caitlin Johnson, a freshman out of Monroe, Georgia, graduated from Walnut Grove High School, has posted a .500 batting average this season. She's appeared in 6 games for North Georgia. She has 2 hits in her 4 at-bats. One of those hits was a double. She also has 3 RBIs this season as well. So when she's seen the plate for North Georgia, she's had a lot of success. So she can do here for North Georgia late in this game against Lake Erie as she takes ball 2 upstairs from Bailey Burwell, who is now in the circle for the Storm. Burwell, a freshman out of Martins Ferry, Ohio. So she's coming in this game in relief of Rowland. And the 3-1 pitch to Johnson. It's going to be outside for ball 4. So she's going to be walked, going to first base. And now up to bat for North Georgia is number 28, Caroline Branch. Seen her first action here in the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. Branch, the sophomore out of Bogart, Georgia, graduated from North Oconee High School. We saw her do some pinch running today for North Georgia on base. Branch still looking for that first hit of the season. This is her 5th appearance at the... This is her 2nd, appearance at the plate. She tries to bunt here, but it's going to be fouled. Makes it a 1-1 count for Branch. And when Branch has been on base, she's scored 4 runs for North Georgia this season. Another speedster on this North Georgia squad. So it's a 1-1 count for Branch. Takes one upstairs. This is going to be another stolen base here for North Georgia as Johnson was able to slide into second safely. Meanwhile, back at home plate, it's a 2-1 count for Branch. Still no outs in the bottom of the 6th. A runner in scoring position for Branch. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. This one's going to be fouled. It's going to be a 2-2 count for Branch. And Mary Seal Brumby is on deck for the Nighthawks. Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Branch. Upstairs for ball 3. Count runs full. And the payoff pitch to Branch, a swing and a miss, is going to give us our first out here in the bottom of the 6th. And the first strikeout of the afternoon for Burwell. And here comes Mary Seal Brumby up to bat for North Georgia. Seeing her first action up to bat for the Nighthawks here in the North Georgia Leadoff Classic. And Brumby this season has posted a .500 batting average. In her 8 appearances up to bat, she has 4 hits. She has a few RBIs as well. As she sees ball 2 here from Burwell. So Burwell gets a signal. This one goes over the head of Brumby to make it a 3-0 count. Wouldn't expect to see Mary Seal swing on this next pitch. And the 3-0 pitch, she does swing, pops this one up high on the left field line, and it's going to be caught for our second out in the bottom of the 6th, as Scott was able to make the play. And Riley Moody is now back up to bat for North Georgia. Moody's 1 for 1 on the day. And that hit also had an RBI attached to it as well. That coming in the bottom of the 5th. She hits this one up the left field line, throw to first, gets there. So that's going to take us to the top of the 7th. And North Georgia is now 3 outs away from clinching their 9th win of the season. We'll see if they can do that when we come back. You're watching North Georgia Softball on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
Greatness. Greatness is defined as striving to succeed. It is giving everything you have to achieve your goals. It's not defined by the numbers of games you lose, the numbers of shots you miss, but it's the risk in failing that will define your greatness. You earn it by showing up early, by pushing yourself every day, by working harder than everyone else. And when you've reached that point of giving up, you don't. Most people are good, others are great. Find your greatness.
Back with you here at Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium in the top of the 7th. North Georgia could potentially close this thing out here as Mixon makes a rare mistake over there at third, was unable to corral that one in to give North Georgia the first out here in the top of the 7th. And so that's going to put Gillen on first as Lake Erie returns to the top of their batting order with Tomorrow. Tomorrow fouls this one behind her, so it's going to be an 0-1 count. And in North Georgia's matchup against Lenore Rhine, they were the visiting team in that matchup. So they didn't have a chance to close things out with their pitching from Tybee Denton in that game. They'll have a chance to close out this game in the top of the 7th with Sophie Mooney in the circle for North Georgia. Mooney now has 2 strikeouts this afternoon, filling in for Aniston Wright. This one's going to be grounded to the short, flip to first, going to get there on time. So that's going to give us our first out here in the top of the 7th. With Moody over there in at shortstop. Here is number 15, Jordan Long, back up to bat. Looking for her first hit of the afternoon. Got a swing and a miss there, makes it an 0-1 count. Long grounded out last time she was up to bat. Looking for something different here to keep this game alive for Lake Erie. And the 0-1 pitch from Mooney is going to be upstairs for a ball. Yesterday, over to the left of us at Bob Stein Stadium, North Georgia Baseball picked up their biggest win of the regular season, taking down the 13th ranked team in the nation 2-1 in a walk-off thriller against Quincy. And Brady Skipper was the hero for the Nighthawks with a walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth to give North Georgia the win. North Georgia Baseball is now 6-1 on the season. And Game 2 of their 3-game series is already underway over there at Bob Stein Stadium, where it's a 6-4 ball game. North Georgia on top of Quincy. That game in the bottom of the 7th. You can catch coverage of that game also on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Bailey Vessel is on the call for that game. Meanwhile, we have a swing and a miss here, making it a 2-2 count for Long. Tomorrow is over there on second. And the 2-2 pitch. A swing and a miss as Mooney gets her third strikeout this afternoon. Now the Nighthawks are 1 out away from closing this one out. We'll see if Gonzalez can keep this game alive for Lake Erie. Jasmine Gonzalez is 1 for 3 today. She has a run on base as well. This one's going to be upstairs for a ball. Sun's starting to poke through the clouds here in Dahlonega. Starting to warm up just a bit. 1-0 pitch to Moody. And Mixon throws to first. And that is gonna do it as North Georgia picks up their 9th win of the season. And they are now 2-1 at the North Georgia Leadoff Classic as they send Lake Erie to 0-1 on the season. And the Storm are going to have another chance to secure their first win of the season later this afternoon against UNC Pembroke at around 4 p.m. The Nighthawks will be back in action tomorrow for the final day of the North Georgia Leadoff Classic, taking on UNC Pembroke at noon and Lenore Rhine at 4 p.m. to close out the weekend. On behalf of the rest of our talented Nighthawk Sports Network crew, this is Robert DiClemente saying thanks so much for watching. Until tomorrow, so long and have a great rest of your Saturday.